It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and everywhere you go, take a look at the Hey, how y'all doing today? This is Brian Boyd, and I had a little Christmas music playing there. Not only is it that time of year, but I wanted to introduce you to EMC Unisphere for VMAX for the new VMAX3 that we have in our lab here at Vero. Just if anybody didn't know, I'm a senior enterprise engineer with Vero, and I specialize in VMAX, EMC storage, Cisco MDS, pretty much everything involving storage. So I just wanted to take a quick walkthrough of my first impressions here of Unisphere on the VMAX3 and kind of show you a couple things that I've seen that's different. So as you see here, we've got basically the normal Unisphere login screen, which, if you're familiar with Unisphere for VMAX, this doesn't look too much different besides the fact that it's running version 8. Those of you that are still on the VMAX 20K and 40K, you're probably, running version 7 of something. So anyway, let's get logged in here real quick. I'm just making a quick video for my VMAXHumpday post. And anyway, here we go. So the first impressions here is this interface is a lot quicker to respond than in the previous versions of Unisphere. If you've tried to get through Unisphere for VMAX for quite a while, or if you've seen some of my posts here on my SandGeek blog, that, it's not the quickest interface in the world. There's definitely some need for improvement. EMC's really improved a lot of the look and feel of this interface as you log in. So, I've literally spent maybe 5 to 10 minutes on this before, so I haven't done very many tasks, but I'll kind of show you how easy it is to work through, especially if you're considering EMC storage and the VMAX3. If you read Jason Nash's blog, he talks a lot about, why enterprise class is still very relevant in the enterprise, especially when you're building out hybrid clouds and other types of applications that need or demand the level of uptime that a VMAX or VMAX3 in this case can provide you. So let's get down to business. So first thing you notice here is, you've got your system serial number, all the, coolness of the VMAX3. It's got, the system dashboard, all that good. This particular model is the VMAX 400K. And instead of Ingenuity, they're starting to call this HyperMax OS. So you can see the versioning there. The capacity, slow compliance is a new thing they're doing. It's kind of like auto tiering, but basically you provide your customers or your internal IT customers the ability to basically provide a service level objective for, what actually you're doing. So in this case, we've got available service levels, Diamond, and let me bring this back up here. So we've got the Diamond level less than 1 millisecond, which is pretty much going to reside most of your data on EFD. Platinum, which is 3 millisecond, which is probably your fiber channel disks. Gold and silver, we're getting into SATA level and things like that, and then optimized. So, that's my first impression there is they're really taking away from this, put it in this tier and we'll auto tier. They're basically, EMC is trying to provide an easier way to provision storage to your customers so you don't really have to think about it all that much. So let's go ahead and we'll click on our metrics, which is very familiar. Pretty much the same thing if you're logging in previous versions of Unisphere, except for the fact that, let me make this window a little bit bigger here. Except for the fact that there's a lot more going on this screen. So basically here you see, total storage, stable groups within the SLO target, marginal and critical. So this is probably, if I had to guess, if something is not meeting compliance, you would want to move or be automated moving stuff into your service level objective for these certain things. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, I've literally spent like 5 minutes on this, so I'm most familiar with previous versions of VMAX, so this is kind of initial impression so you can take a look yourselves. So here we go. We've got several storage groups already set up for our ESX cluster in our lab. So, we've got embedded NAS storage group, which I believe that there's a NAS attached to this currently. The ESX gatekeeper ones, which is presented out to our solutions enabler server to basically provide the Unisphere for VMAX. We've got an ESX cluster data group, which is all of our data stores for our ESX cluster, and then a standard ESX clustered storage group as well. So if I click on the clustered storage group, let's go ahead and double click here. It's going to show you pretty much things that you would expect in previous versions of Unisphere. So we've got related objects. It's got volumes, a child storage group, and masking views. So if you're familiar with previous versions of Unisphere, you'll understand what these mean. Basically, if I go into volumes, I'll see that we've set up 4 2-terabyte data stores, which is pretty cool. All sorts of cool stuff here in the storage tab up here, and that's the first one that you go on. So let's go to service levels. Let's see what this is all about. Okay, this is kind of what I talked about in the beginning. We've got an optimized tier, which is probably automatic. So if we were to provision storage, probably provision it to that. And then if your customers or internal IT groups need silver, gold, platinum support, you go ahead and put it in there. So, my thought is the diamond storage, well, obviously your payroll systems, because everybody wants to get paid really quick. Your platinum, yeah, that's probably important stuff too. Your day-to-day operation stuff, probably also in gold. And then silver is probably archival type storage that you would want to, get off of there and all that good stuff. So now we're back here. Let's take a look at storage resource pools. All right, storage resource pools. So storage resource pools looks a lot like disk groups in the previous version of Unisphere. So you've got all of our capacities here. Now we've labeled these, group 1, 2, and 3. So 600 gig 10K drives in a RAID 6, and then 300 10K drives in a RAID 1, and then group 3 is our EFDs. So we've only got those in here. Let's see if we got any SATA in here too. Nope, not on this array. So, obviously if you have different types of drives and things like that, it would be listed in there. And then under properties, you've got, your usable capacity, allocated, free, all that good stuff. And looks like there's some information here about RDF. And then this is associated with service levels, which is all of them. So storage resource pools, I guess you can assign those to specific service level objectives as well. So if I'm thinking back to like FastVP, I guess FastVP would be similar to, storage or an SLO compliance in the fact that, instead of manually setting your percentages to, 100, 100, 100, well, you're going to throw stuff in this, optimized SLO. And then instead of making like a 20% EFD and an 80% FC group, then you would just put it in the gold. So it looks like EMC is trying to take the guesswork out of FastVP, which is awesome because trying to figure out, your percentages and all that was kind of a pain in previous versions of Unisphere. I mean, it can be done based off of best practices and all that good stuff. But if you think about it, everybody, I don't know, everybody's data center is different. So I like the fact that they're kind of taking that guesswork away here. So, all right, I think I've covered storage here. You know, there's obviously some other things you can do in here, creating volumes, provisioning external storage, which I have to guess that that's the federated tier storage, which we're not doing on this box. Let's go ahead and click on hosts. And what I've noticed here is the interface is much, much faster. So ESX, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, here's our initiator groups. So initiator groups, for those that don't know, contain all of the WWNs for hosts that you're provisioning and or, you know, iSCSI stuff as well if you're using iSCSI. So let's go ahead and masking view. Masking view is what you would see in your typical VMAX environment. So you've got the masking view, which contains the host initiator group, the port group that we're assigning to, and then also the storage group. So here's our three. We've got the embedded NAS, we've got the gatekeeper storage group, and the ESX cluster storage group, and all these are masking views, providing these hosts with the storage that they need. Let's see what else we got here. Initiators, we kind of covered that. Port groups are basically the front-end adapters. If you're a VNX shop, it's, you know, your front-end adapters that are providing a host their storage. Extreme SW cache adapters, I need to read up on that. I'm not sure what that is. Let's go to virtual servers. Looks like this is probably, if I had to guess, that's probably our vSphere server. So I guess you can add this and it may go through and provide information to vSphere, probably through the ESX plugin, all that good stuff. So let's go to data protection. So here we've got, okay, so this is similar to what we had before in the Unisphere, where we got time finder clones, mirrors, SnapVX. I believe that's the virtual snapshots that you see, you know, in the previous versions of Unisphere on the VMAX 20K and 40K. SRTF, protect point. I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to take a look at that. What I don't see here is the ability to do Open Replicator. So I'm not sure where that would be, but maybe I can find it here. There it is, Open Replicator. So Open Replicator, if you've seen some of my previous posts on my blog, basically we use this a lot to do data migrations for folks here at Vero. So I'm glad to see that's still there. Okay, so performance, this is, I'm not going to jump to conclusions here, but this is most likely what you would see in the older versions of the performance that you would see on a VMAX. So here's our heat map. Heat maps are what I like to see, and you know, we're really not doing much on this array right now, so everything looks nice and green. They've kind of flattened the interface a little bit, so it looks a lot more like the new style OS X and you know, Apple iOS and all that stuff. So I really like to see kind of that consistency that a lot of people are using, you know, this flattened interface type. So let's go to databases. What do we got in here? Nothing. System. All right, so here's a little bit more about your system. So what you noticed in the past is system was on the left in the old version of Unisphere, and now it's over here on the right. Not sure why that is, but probably because storage makes sense. And, you know, finding stuff about information about your system, maybe that's secondary now. So, yeah, just throw it at the end. I like how they kind of rearrange stuff at top based off of what you're probably going to be using most. You can definitely tell they've most likely done a usability study on this interface as well. I know that some of the folks who are working with the VNX team or the mid-range people. I know they talked a lot about that at EMC World last year, and you can kind of see that being brought here with Unisphere for VMAX as well. So, you know, hardware, front end, probably front end directors, yep. So this is very similar to what you would see in the old version of VMAX, Unisphere, RDF, back-end ports, hardware, health checks. One thing I don't see is on the old version of the system, you used to be able to schedule tasks and things like that. So I'll have to look into that a little bit more, see where that is on this new one. But anyway, this is a quick 15 minutes already of Unisphere for VMAX, and I hope you enjoyed. And if you have any questions or concerns or anything at all, please feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. I'm SanGeek on Twitter, SANGEEK. My blog is thesangeek.com, and my company's name is Vero.com. Once again, this is Brian Boyd doing a quick overview of Unisphere for VMAX 3 for anybody who hasn't seen it yet at all. So I'll leave it at that, and I hope that everybody has a very Merry Christmas and a great holiday season, and we'll catch you next year. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
There's a tree in the Grand Hotel, one the target world. This dirty kind, this is mine, this